Hey guys, welcome to another video. It's Bindu. If you're new here, you're probably wondering why I haven't posted a video. I think it's been about almost 3 months now. But I am coming just to give a quick little update. I just finished the first semester of PA school. I feel like I can breathe, kinda. But I know I've been slacking with the videos. I promise I'm not going to just fall off the face of the earth and just stop posting. There may be some breaks in between. I'm trying to do better. After I get through this video, there are some other videos that I have started to edit that pretty much are almost done. They will be some from like during the semester of PA school, also some from the summer that I didn't post from before, but like I know we're going into a new year soon, so I want to get it done before the new year, but I'm not just gonna abandon those videos because I took the time to edit them. And yeah, but anyways, I don't want this to be a super long video, so let's just get to it. I just wanted to give an update about where I am with PA school and talk about this first semester because it's wild really thinking about the fact that we're done with the first semester when it seems like we just started. But God is good, because it was sometimes where it just seemed like it was impossible, but we made it through. So first I am going to start off just by giving an overview of the classes and things that we had this semester, and then I'll go into just some things that like I learned about myself or noticed that I think may be helpful, hopefully will be helpful to other people, either that are currently PA students, pre-PA students, or really just anyone. And this is also just a reminder to myself in the upcoming semesters so that I can look back on this. We're already at 3 minutes. I really want this to be a short video. So anyways, as far as classes this semester, so if you don't know, PA school, well, it's different in different places, but my program is 2 years long. The first semester is didactic, which pretty much just means that you are doing a lot of like coursework, like lectures, and then the second year is clinical, where you're out on different rotations. And so since the first didactic is a year, we finished the first semester, we have 2 more semesters of didactic year. But for this semester, we started off, we had basic medical sciences, which just consisted of genetics, microbiology, and immunology. It was a really fast course. It wasn't terrible. And then we had anatomy, of course, that was through like the entire semester, and then also physiology. And then we had patient assessment and counseling, which was learning how to just do different exams. Really, we're learning how to do a physical exam, and then at the end of the semester we had I guess it was considered a practicum. So we had an exam at the end of the semester where we had 45 minutes to complete what we had been learning, so this full physical examination. We also were learning how to like take a patient history and like take notes and different things like that. And the next semester I think we're just gonna really just build on top of it. We also had evidence-based clinical practice, which is learning how to look up different articles and using different resources to figure out like how to treat your patient. That's pretty much the gist of it. We had diagnostic methods, which was pretty much what it sounds like different methods that you use to diagnose, whether it be like a flu test or a strep test. And we learned a little bit as far as like radiology and stuff like that too. That's pretty much a summary. And then we have pharmacology 1, which some of it was by itself, like the basics unit, and then the rest of it was integrated with our clinical medicine course. Okay, and then we had practice in the healthcare system. Is it called practice in the healthcare system or professional practice? Anyways, so for that class, we pretty much just learned about the history of the PA profession, where you know, things are now with the PA profession. Also, just different disparities, like different health disparities, the social determinants of health, things like that, which is very important for people trying to go into the healthcare field. And then we had clinical medicine, which I just talked about pharmacology being like kind of integrated with it. But clinical medicine is pretty much when we get into like the really why we're here, like learning how to diagnose and treat different diseases. And so we have different units, or you can call them, I guess, modules, or I guess some people may call them blocks. And so we had 4 this semester so far. So we did dermatology, we did EENT, and we did psychiatry, and we did orthopedics. So we got 4 down, and I think when the next semester starts, we'll talk about that, but I think we're starting with hematology, oncology when the next semester starts. So yeah, that is just a quick little rundown of the semester. And yeah, we got through it. That was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes. Some of them were like together, some were like finished before another one started, something like that. But yeah, so we're done. That's pretty much the first semester for people who are wondering kind of like what it's like. So that's what we took. For the most part, we were in class. There were some days where we were there from like 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. We do get a break in between, like a hour or so break for lunch. And then there were some, usually on Thursdays, we didn't sit in the class. We had the patient assessment and counseling class and then anatomy lab. And so there would be, we would switch. So like if you had anatomy lab in the morning, then you would have PAC in the afternoon, and vice versa. So that day Thursdays we weren't really in class. And then they do give us a half day on Tuesdays where we get out at 12. But yeah, that's pretty much a rundown of the semester. So let me know if you have any questions. But going into just a few things, I am very proud of myself, and I have come a very long way from the beginning of the semester, where I was just always just like stressed, and it was just a mess. So again, these are just some things that I learned that I feel like people can take in when they start PA school. So the number one thing is, do not compare yourself. This is probably the most like valuable piece of advice that I got from my good friend Tony. And he told me that when I was doing my last master's program, but I literally always have that in my head now when like it starts and I start like trying to compare. And like if you know me, I am very much like this. Like if you know me, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do, these are my plans. I'm not worried about anybody else or what anyone else thinks or anything like that. And that's really who I am. But then for some reason, when it comes to like sometimes school and like that imposter syndrome starts to kick in, I'll start just kind of like being like, oh well, everyone else is like, you know, doing so well and like, you know, things like that. But that got cut off real soon once I like checked myself and realized what I was doing, because no, I had to learn really just a reminder that like I am here for a reason. And if I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't be here. And I have to remind myself of that, and also just like recognize that like I have my own path, and it's not dependent on anyone else. And because sometimes we can sort of be like, what's an example? Like maybe you're doing like a group exercise or something like that, and it seems like everyone else is like okay with the topic, and everyone else is like just understands everything at that point. But maybe you didn't study that part yet, or whatever the reason may be. Like sometimes you can start to question like, oh my God, everyone knows everything and I don't. And it's like, I can guarantee you that out of everyone that's in the class, there are other people that do not, first of all, no one knows everything, just to be clear, because I feel like if you knew everything, there would be no reason to be here. But my point is like, you can kind of start to compare and think like, these people are smarter, or I'm not smart enough and I don't know what I'm doing, and things like that. And so I had to just really just shut that down and just think back like to my past of like, girl, like the journey that it took you to get here, like it was very purposeful, and recognizing like I'm in purpose. And I hate that I keep saying but yeah, I don't know if that like summarizes it, but pretty much like I said, I learned not to compare myself, and I hope that you do not, and you can remember this and hear my voice if you get to the point where you are comparing and you're like think that more people know what you know more than you know and things like that. So yeah, that's the first one. The next one is I guess this kind of relates to the other one, but do what works for you. I had to learn to do what works for me. So, okay, so for that, it's sort of like studying, knowing how I study, knowing how I learn. It doesn't have to do with anyone else. And I think like sometimes people will sort of look at like classmates, and I feel like at some point I was kind of doing in the beginning, I was kind of doing the same thing where I would be like, well, people are like taking notes this way, or like they can just go ahead, like for Anki, for example. I'm not knocking Anki, like it's good, it's cool, but like some people are able to take a lecture immediately and start doing Anki like flashcards, or whether it be quiz, any flashcards, and be okay and be able to pass an exam. And I cannot do that. I have to have things organized in a way. I need to see the hierarchical structure. I need to see how different things relate and connect to one another. And so I can't do that. I also have to go through the objectives and like make sure that I answer them and look at it to make sure that it's just things are just like kind of clicking and making sense for me. I also am not someone who can study in a group until it's like I understand something and we're just like, and we're talking through it, because it takes me, like, let's say someone is like asking a question or going over something and another person like answers too fast. I don't know the correct terminology, I'm not a learning specialist, but like it doesn't benefit me because I didn't take the time for my mind to really start to think about it and pull the answer out. So it's like I'm passively thinking that I'm understanding something and I'm not. And then it's not until we get into the exam that it's like, oh wow, you really don't know this. So, and also just like getting distracted easily. Like I'm not someone who can unfortunately go study in a coffee shop. I really don't even like studying in libraries, to be honest, because like I need to be comfortable. Like if I'm cold, I really cannot study. And I saw that because like some people, you may feel like, you know, whether it be like you have FOMO or like you're like, oh well, no, these people like get it if they study together and things like that. Like I said, you really just have to figure out your learning style and do what works for you, because at the end of the day, we are just trying to make it to be able to practice and become PAs and pass the pants and be able to practice. So I think that's another thing, is like I said, finding your thing. It doesn't matter if everyone else does one thing one way. People may not write out notes. People may be able to just type notes out on the computer, and that works for them. For me, I have to have my whiteboard. I sometimes will write things out using like my iPad, but I have to organize things in a way that makes sense for me. That's another thing. So do what works for you. There's even times where like there's certain like activities that we were doing as a group. Obviously not in those situations where it's like a graded activity where you all have to kind of like contribute to it. But like, for example, like with some like anatomy, sometimes the instructor will do it to where she's teaching and then we separate and go into like our groups and things like that, and we'll do like an exercise and people are supposed to be like talking it out. But then I started to recognize like it's a waste of me to be in here because I am not processing anything. And so for the majority of people, this is a time where they're studying, right? And it's like they are I ain't got that much time left. They're studying and like they're able to just kind of use that as a time to like study and sort of like do active recall of the content. But then I realized like, oh my God, there's too much going on. Too many people are talking about different things. This is very overstimulating for me and it's a lot. And so, I mean, there were times where like I would step out of the room and go by myself because I wanted to use that time to make sure that I was getting the benefit of the time that we had. So just things like that. I got 7 minutes left and I'm getting through this in 7 minutes. Another thing that I've learned, and I think this is also like to pre-PAs, is to take advantage of every opportunity during your clinical, shadowing, volunteer experiences to ask questions and to just take in all that you can, because a lot of times for me, I learn because I can relate things back to something that I saw. It's been very helpful, especially when we got into our clinical medicine course. Like, oh my gosh, it was just so many things where like they're talking, and it was just so much easier to study too, because it was like, okay, this is what happened with that. This makes sense. So take advantage of that. And my next thing kind of builds on top of what I just said about taking advantage, is also take advantage of topics that you're not interested in. Because I say this because I talked about how I worked in float pool and pretty much and worked in every specialty. And I was always someone that would be asking questions to like the providers that came in, the nurses, everyone trying to learn. And I would say the one unit that I would go to that I didn't have an interest in was ortho. And I think I even remember like shadowing a PA too, where there was a lot of, it was a sports medicine clinic, so there was a lot of that. But I don't think I asked that many questions because I just was never interested in ortho. And so the last few units that we did, so the last unit that we did in our clinical medicine course was orthopedics, and then anatomy was the limbs. And I mean, I survived it. I got through the clinical medicine part of it, but what I will say is there was very few things that I could relate it to. And it's because I didn't care about it, so I didn't care to ask questions. And so I say that to say, like, I wish that back then, even though it wasn't something I was interested in, that I still asked and just like paid more attention to it, because it would be very helpful. So I say all that, like, if you are in a position where you see something that's like, I'm not really interested in that specialty or area of medicine, still learn and ask questions, because it will definitely stick, and like it will be very beneficial to you when you start PA school. I think the next one, so is listen to your body and take a break. I realize that I am way more like efficient and effective with studying when I have a day like to myself. So like Fridays after class, I do not do anything. I'm not studying, period. I don't care what's due, like I'm not studying, because in the few days times that I would try to do it, like I wasn't really I wasn't effectively studying. I was just wasting time and I needed a break. And then there's even some days that's like during the week where maybe we had class from like 9 to 5, and I come back home and like it's probably about 6 plus if I get home, depending on if there's traffic or something like that. And I come back home and I'm like, I just mentally can't do it. And I'd be trying to force myself, but then like 3-4 hours would go by and it was like, oh, I didn't learn anything. That time would have been better spent just like doing something to relax, going to bed early, and then like getting up early and doing what I have to do. So I think that that's something that I would have done different from the beginning, but I did change it up, and that's what I do now and will be taking into the next semester. And I know also for me, like I am not someone who can just get up out of bed and immediately like start studying or start like doing things. And I would say like the last like 2 weeks of classes, I started to try to do that, and it was just very hard. Like, so it was like the first semester was kind of rocky. Not the first semester, the beginning of the semester was kind of rocky. Then like mid-semester, I was like good, like doing very well, very, very well on exams. Wasn't stressed, like wasn't like crying or having mental breakdowns. Wasn't like, I was just good. I was in a good mood, you know, things like that. And I think for me, it was because I had something to ground myself in, which was God, and journaling made a very big difference too. And yeah, that was just very helpful for me. Like I would just journal everything that I was feeling and experiencing and things like that. And I would take that time in the morning to myself to pray, to journal and things like that before starting my day. And like I said, then we got to the end of the semester and I was just like, I don't know what happened or where I lost it, but I wasn't really journaling in the morning. I was just like, okay, get up, like almost like doing things like last minute and barely having that time to myself, and it definitely started to like have an effect on me and even how I was performing on exams. So the fact that there was that difference between the beginning, middle, and end of the semester, like I know what I have to do and I'm sticking to what I did during the middle of the semester and taking a break and keeping my routine and doing what works for me regardless. So I think those are like the biggest things that I can say so far that I've learned, but I don't want to make a super long video, so maybe we'll make another one. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm done with the first semester. I know I was slacking on my videos this semester, but I'm going to do so much better next semester. I promise you guys. I feel like it's going to be a little different, but just stay tuned for some of the other videos that like I said, already recorded and was editing. So be on the lookout for that, or for those videos. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions, as always. But yeah, that's just a little rundown of the semester, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.